Hey guys, welcome to lesson 1, our very first lesson of the year. I know, it's very exciting. So today we're going to talk about naming notes in treble and bass clef, ledger lines, and note stems. So we have so many exciting things to talk about. Let's just get right to it. Treble clef lines! The lines in treble clef from bottom to top are E, G, B, D, and F. Or you can remember the phrase, every good boy deserves fudge. Seems like a boy came up with that one, I'm just saying. Treble clef spaces! The spaces in treble clef from bottom to top are F, A, C, E, which conveniently spells the word face. Ta-da!
Bass clef lines.
The lines in bass clef from bottom to top are G, B, D, F, and A. Or you can just remember the super relatable phrase, go bananas, do fun arithmetic. Honestly guys, I'm not sure which kind the fun kind of arithmetic is. I guess that's why I teach music now.
Bass clef spaces.
The spaces in bass clef from bottom to top are A, C, E, and G, or all cows eat grass. I wore my cow socks just for this occasion. Ta-da! I wish they were not upside down, but... Anyway, let's take a look at how we would use all of these memory tricks in real life. Take a look at part A, number 2. The first step when you're naming any note is to double check what clef you're in. We can see over here that we are in the treble clef, and so then we move on to the next step, which is to decide whether our note is on a line or a space. This one is on a space, so then we think about our memory trick for treble clef spaces, which is the word face. And then we're just going to count up from the bottom space until we reach our note. F, A, C, E. So this note is an E. Now let's take a look at number 3. This time we're still in treble clef, but we're on a line. So that means that we're going to use our memory trick, every good boy deserves fudge. And we're just going to count up from the bottom line until we reach our note. Every good boy. And we're at our note, so this one is a B. The process is going to be very similar when we're in bass clef, so go ahead and take a look at part B and look at number 12. I already gave away that we're in bass clef, but it's always good to double check. And our note is a space, so that means we're going to use all cows eat grass. And we're just going to count up from the bottom space until we get to our note. All cows eat grass, so this note is a G in the bass clef. Now let's skip ahead to number 15. We're still in the bass clef, but this time it's a line, which means that we're going to use our little memory trick, go bananas, do fun arithmetic. We're going to count up from the bottom line up to our note. Go bananas, do fun arithmetic. So this is an A in the bass clef. Hopefully this is starting to feel pretty comfortable. If not, practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the easier it'll get, the faster it'll get. You won't always have to think about the memory tricks. You'll just be able to be like, oh yes, that is a C, and I just know it. Unfortunately, though, not all of the notes that we can sing or play fit onto 5 lines and 4 spaces right on the staff. So for that purpose, we have to use ledger lines. Ooh. Just to quickly recap, our lines in the treble clef are going to be E every, G good, B boy, D deserves, F fudge. And our spaces on the treble clef are going to be the word face. F, A, C, E. Take a look at a piano keyboard and notice that our notes go up in the same order as the keyboard. Starting on the bottom line, we have E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Notice that we alternate line, space, line, space, line, space, line, space, line. So following that pattern, if I wanted to write this G, it would probably be a space. And what we can do is we can actually just add another space right above the staff like this. Ta-da! So that note would be G. We can do the same thing on the bottom of the staff. If we want to write this E, we just add a space right below the bottom line, and that would be D. If I wanted to write this C below this D, it's going to need to be a line if we're following our pattern, which goes space, line, space, line. So in order to do that, we're going to need to use a ledger line. So this line right here is called a ledger line, and it just adds an extra line to the staff for just the note that we need the extra line, because we wouldn't want to like constantly be looking at 12 lines. That would be headache inducing to say the least. So if we want the C right below this D, we're just going to put a note on this line like so, and then that's C. Again, we can do the same thing on top of the staff. If we wanted to write this A, it would need to be the line above this G. So we're going to need to add a ledger line again and then draw the note. And that note is A. When you're naming notes that use ledger lines, just like with any note, the first step is going to be to check the clef. So take a look at part C in your handout. And notice that I was nice to you. We're only in the treble clef. And then let's take a look at number 2. Once we've determined our clef, the next step is to decide whether our note is above or below the staff. In this case, we are above the staff. And when a note is above the staff, that means that we're going to count up from the top line. So the top line in treble clef is F, and then the space above that is a G, and then the line above that, which is also our note, is an A. So this note is an A. Now take a look at number 6. This time, we're still in treble clef, but we're below the staff. When the note is below the staff, you're going to want to start on the bottom line and count down to your note. So the bottom line in treble clef is E, the space below that is D, the line below that is C, the space below that is B, and the line below that, which is also our note, is A. So this note is also an A. Yay, ledger lines! So fun. Last but certainly not least, let's discuss note stems and their directions. Almost all notes have stems. The only ones that don't are whole notes. So when you're writing stems, like with many things in life, there are, of course, rules. Regardless of which clef you're in, you're going to find the third line. Notes that are on or above the third line, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, are going to have their stem pointing down and on the left side of the note. Ta-da! Notes that are below the third line of the staff, like this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, are going to have the stem pointing up, and the stem's going to be on the right side of the note. Wow. And that's it for this week, team. Feel free to leave any questions that you have in the comments or send me an email. I'd be happy to answer them. And I will see you next time for lesson 2.